Hey guys, it's your boy TG. Yeah, bring it from the bottom. You're locked in to Goode Got You Entertainment. Hey, before we get started, we got a lot of things to talk about, and it's only an NBA night tonight. So the NFL still got a lot going on. We don't know where the hell Aaron Rodgers is, and we don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. But tonight's more focused on the NBA. But alongside me today, I'm your host, Marquez Goode, and I got Marcus Ojolaya. Marco Polo, the greatest is his name. We don't know where the hell Cam Taylor is, but we'll figure that out. We got a lot of things coming up and a lot of big announcements to make. But let's be the first to say, Marcus, how's it going? We're here another week.
I'm feeling good, feeling blessed, and staying safe.
Good. Basically, got to stay safe. Now the mask mandate is removed. We didn't have one on anyway. But in the same sense, we got a lot of things coming up, and we got a lot of things to talk about. I'll be looking at your comments from over here in the corner while I'm in the cut. MPG will be holding it down. But for right now, NBA news, a lot of them going around town. We had the playoffs happened. You want to know something else? A lot of people affected by this. Some teams, as of now, everybody had a drop in their playoff experience, and nobody's been to these finals in the actual playoff race right now. Every team's an underdog. Majority of teams coached by an African-American head coach. Let's say something about that. But then not to only say that, let's see the coaches that did have a limited amount of experience, but a lot of playing experience, Steve. And that's where you at. I don't know. He's still at home, or as Cam would say, in Dubai, rehabbing. But let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks outlasting the Brooklyn Nets. We talked about how much the Brooklyn Nets was an underdog in this, and basically an understatement in this game, saying that the Nets, with KD, with Kyrie, with James Harden, with Blake Griffin, with Jordan, all the boys there, you think, hey, how much firepower can you have? And guess what? The Milwaukee Bucks said that's not enough. And guess what else? We talked about it earlier this season. Guess what we talked about? We talked about injuries. And one thing I pinpointed in when we talked about earlier this season, and Cam said, no, is what? Injuries. And that's what took a part of them. Not only one, not two, but three of their stars went down throughout the season. And guess what? We knew that Kyrie was always going to be injury prone. He's been there. It's just like another Derrick Rose effect. We know James Harden had his injuries that happened over the time period. But now let's talk about the bad man, KD. Well, he came up inches too short. But let's talk about this. Let me give you a little bit of stats before I ask you this question. KD, other night, game online, elimination game, which we know it is. Milwaukee's moving forward. KD, less than a hair or too short from cashing in, money in the bank. Charlie, what do you think? And that was to be the 3-point to possibly win the game with 2 seconds left, which we know that would have probably happened. But let's talk about this. In the whole entire series against the Milwaukee Bucks, KD being one-man band, and I ain't talking about a multimedia journalist either. I'm talking about KD, 29 points in one night, 32 points. Game 3, 30. Game 4, 28, 49 career. One of the most epic games somebody ever did in the playoffs history was him. And not only that, 32, and then to close it out, 48 points just to come up with a loss and be sitting at home looking at the other team advance. Again, Kyrie injured, and we'll talk about that after. But how do you feel that KD and his impact on the Nets, and what should be their mental thought process right now? Even though they lost his game, KD can carry a team, look like, but he came short when it mattered most. We didn't see him after that. After that one play happened, cost him overtime. Then you turn around and he didn't show up in the ultimate OT. So what should have been their corrections made going into overtime the other night?
Well, it's just all about playmaking, and everyone got to contribute. I mean, of course, you have James Harden, who came back with the hamstring injury, but since he came back, he wasn't really the answer to really finish the job. It was alongside with Kevin Durant being the top scorer on the team. So by him trying to carry the team on his back, it was pretty much a lot of pressure being put on his plate because of what he had to do in order for his team to try and contribute and try to move on in advance, which like you said, he came up short. And with that being said, during the off season, they just have to find different ways and different tricks and pieces in order for the Brooklyn Nets team to be a collective and dangerous unit, a much more dangerous unit, and correct their mistakes.
So we talk about correcting mistakes, but one era, and it pulls, and it really matters. And it's a bunch of barbershop talk when you talk about it. But one thing is James Harden not only being injured 2 nights in a row, he played one night. I imagine he only scored almost 12 points. Wow, we know what James Harden's capable of doing. Not only that, the elimination game. You as a coach, this is what Stephen A. talks so much about, and this is not only what everybody in the league talked about, is the mind of the coach. And damn it, Steve Nash don't belong there as a head coach. That's for sure. And I tell you the reason why. In certain predicaments like that, you have coaches like Doc Rivers, you have coaches like Steve Nash, damn it, Ty Lue too. Because they don't know how to do their damn job. Because at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. They go into games like this, and you want to know what happens? The lack of skill and the lack of team management and the lack of time management, they don't know what they're doing. And at the end of the day, James Harden should have been in any of the damn games. I understand the decoy effect. You got to put the stronger player in there just because, guess what? No dummy will go in the game and not guard James Harden. I'm not going to leave that man one leg tied behind his back, injured, and make him do a 3-point shot. No, I'm not going to let that happen. You got to keep 2 people over there because you don't know what he's capable of. But that man was hurt in an elimination game. Kyrie sitting over there looking like 12 years a slave. And then you do all of this. And you still getting carried home. And you got a man in 2 games out of the series score 49 and 48 points, carrying your damn team on his back. And guess what? Y'all came up short.
In overtime.
Next man up, but that didn't even matter because guess what? You have a coach that don't even have experience coaching. He plays as a player, and then guess what? He couldn't get the job done as a coach because who the hell is he to go tell KD, get better, buddy? Who's the hell is he to go tell James Harden, get your leg rested, buddy? Who the hell is he to go tell Kyrie, go get your legs right? Because he don't know what to do. He don't. And I don't know which coach would be the guy to say that. Greg Popovich would have did better. Greg Popovich would have pulled him out of the game and said, go put a different guy. I guarantee one of them guys on the bench that night would have scored almost 20, 25 points because that would have been in a prime time game and you would have made sense. But no, guess what? Dummy went up there and put in James Harden. He won't shoot nothing. 25% completed.
All about stupid decisions.
Dumb decisions.
Dumb decisions.
But the unsmartness or the competitiveness of the coaching staff and the players. James Harden, you saw him taking shots out there. He looked like he was uncomfortable. Why did any coach on that staff did not pull? I would have cleansed house today. And that's all I'm going to say. Anybody come quote me on that, I would have cleared house today. I don't care if your coach got a good name. Good name, what's it going to do? Look what Ty Lue and the Clippers are doing. Ty Lue got some championships, but did you think he coached the Cavs? No. LeBron coached that team. Kawhi Leonard's not the guy to do that with the Clippers. We can talk about them later. But one thing I want to know is how can the Brooklyn Nets, learning from that game, because you never lost, you learn, and you don't come in first place, you always have second place, but that's not going to be the case. What adjustments are needed to be made in the Brooklyn Nets house to clean up shop for next season?
Well, hopefully get certain players like Damian Lillard. I know Stephen A. Smith, he said in order for Damian Lillard, if he wants to win a ring, he needs to get shipped out of Portland ASAP. And you're looking at teams like the Nets and the Lakers who could possibly get Damian Lillard if he's willing to be available. That could sort of help either the Lakers or the Brooklyn Nets to be more dominant, be more dangerous. only if everyone is healthy, including James Harden and Kyrie Irving, from the injuries that really got them not being themselves 100%, and that's the reason why Giannis and the Bucks, they was able to take advantage of that. They caught them slipping, and with Giannis and Chris Middleton and the rest of the game, they was able to contribute and move on to the next series. So with the Brooklyn Nets, it's just all about simple mistakes, making smarter decisions, and really know their rights from their wrongs.
Well, we'll talk about that a lot more as we see what the Milwaukee Bucks do going into this series. Their current game will go down very, very soon. But let's move on. LA Clippers cruise past the Utah Jazz. Clippers considered underdog because the Jazz got some flavor in your ear. But they learned that they ain't got no flavor and they just eating plain raw noodles. But one thing is Paul George and Terrence Mann had Terrence Mann. I'll tell you this. When Chris Paul struggled, and not Chris Paul, Paul George, my fault. Paul George struggled throughout the process. I will say that the Clippers, and I don't know if this is Ty Lue's coaching, but under his influence and under his coaching regime, is they brought in a second-tier person in the Raps that Kawhi Leonard suffers that ACL, the Achilles injury, and he's not able to return. Or whatever severe injury that he may not return for this series, or if he goes to the finals, will not return for that either. But one thing is that I want to say is that Mann came in with a career high of 39 points. This is where the coaching comes in. This is where the common sense law comes in. If somebody's not getting the job done, then make another man come in and help out.
You gotta stay ready so that you don't have to get ready.
And although people are like, "Oh yeah, they beat the Jazz and they knocked them out in game, I think 6." But one thing I want to say here is the Clippers are now 0-1 in Phoenix. They lost the other night. That game was 120-114. But I do want to say this before we get there and ask you, what do we got? They got to change. What the Clippers got to change? But one point of consistency is the two differences in the teams. The Clippers that are more veteran built. They only have one main guy, and that's Paul George right now. You have Mann. He can come in and do his duty, but he has to step up. He can't do it one and done show. You can't show him off in game 6 and then come to game 2 and you don't know who you are. But I want to say this, Paul George, I want to know how much consistency will he show? Will he be that guy that we see 40 points, 50 points, and then he dives and only scored 10 and 3 rebounds? I don't know. But I want to tell you this. The Suns, one thing about the Suns that I like, and I'm a Clippers fan for sure, but the Suns, on this note, they're younger, they're faster, and they're competitive, and they really, really want it. Without Chris Paul being in the house, and we don't know how far that may go because he tested positive for COVID. No, not COVID, didn't test positive for COVID-19. He just in the COVID protocols for COVID-19, and we don't know how long that may last. But there's a storyline behind every championship and every finals, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But what if the Clippers are down 0-1 right now in the series? They could be possibly digging themselves into the deeper hole, which we've seen the Clippers come back from the 3-1 series, and we know what they can do. But what can the Clippers do right now, knowing that they lost the game 120-114? What can they do right now to kind of make up for their loss or correct their wrongs before it's too late?
But really, if the Clippers want to beat the Phoenix Suns in game 2, which is tomorrow, they just gotta start playing ahead and play fast and play quick, because knowing how the Phoenix Suns is able to play their own game, they really a fast tempo team that can drop points on you at any given moment. So really with the Clippers, it's just all about playing ahead. Like you mentioned, everyone has to be consistent. It can't just be one man doing it all. Everyone has to do their fair share, do that fair part and take care of business. Obviously, you're without Kawhi Leonard, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, for the LA Clippers to come out on top, they just gotta stay collective and stay consistent at all times and play ahead.
And definitely got to play ahead in that game tomorrow night. And let's talk about this before we get to Doc Rivers' conversation. Is the Atlanta Hawks fluttered past the 76ers. Literally. But who's to blame for the Atlanta? I mean, who's to blame for the loss with the 76ers? They have a team. They have Ben Simmons. They have Joel Embiid. They have all the pieces of the puzzle. They may need a couple more big names. But who's the ringleader for the Hawks?
The team itself. I say the team itself. Because when you look at the 76ers, you got Ben Simmons, you got Joel Embiid, you got other players around you that can like help your team out even more. And just looking at the series, yeah, it's been certain series where it was like, okay, 76ers, they could possibly close it out. But then with the Atlanta Hawks, they could come at you and win it at any given moment. And that's exactly what they did last night that we saw with the Hawks and the 76ers. So, and then, of course, when you look at Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, whole time they was just looking tired, like they was out of it. Like they didn't want to put in that much effort in order to advance to the next round. So I think that mostly plays the part of why the 76ers wasn't the dangerous 76ers that we was previously seeing. So I think that plays a big part of it.
So my question is before we get over to who you got in the next two rounds, because we got the Bucks and I believe the Hawks, right?
The Bucks and the Hawks.
And then you got the Clippers going on to, and they're going game 2 with the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. One thing I want to ask is, buzzing around the NBA, you got Doc Rivers moving and shipping sail from the Clippers. And you remember when he had Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford, J.J. Redick, and the boys, the whole crew. Nothing to miss. Nothing. I mean, he had the whole team. Bread and butter. Got fed good, lived in the hood where it was good. And the thing is, he had all of that, and he still lost. The furthest they got was a semifinal. No. Don't even get me wrong. He didn't even get to the damn finals. He didn't even get to the conference finals. He got to the he didn't barely get to the semifinals. The Clippers ain't been this far to this year. And I'm a Clippers fan, I know. But you have a coach in Ty Lue that coached a franchise that had star-studded players like Kawhi Leonard, like LeBron James, like Kevin Love, even though I don't like Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, all the boys. With one of the players, and one of the players getting hurt, and Kyrie and LeBron carrying the team and bringing it back to the Cavs. But Doc Rivers and the 76ers are at home. The Clippers have now moved forward for the first time in their franchise history to the Western Conference Finals. Now, who's the issue? Because we could blame Doc Rivers because he had a chance with this team. He had a chance with the boys, but they got rid of him and said, Ty Lue, come on. He couldn't get it done with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So, boop, you are there. Who there it is. And then, but when you walk with the Clippers, they gave you Grace and Mercy. That's a good movie and a good food truck located in West Virginia. But on the other hand, you have one of the best well-put teams in probably the league history because you had two big guys in Blake and DeAndre, even though DeAndre couldn't shoot a free throw to save his life. Then you had Chris Paul, the commander-in-chief. You had this. You
also had Jamal Crawford.
You had Crawford that won many awards, and he could move. He in my eyes, and people, you can say what you want. In my eyes, he was the modern day Ray Allen, because this guy and JJ and Jamal Crawford could shoot from almost anywhere in motion. And there's only minimum players, Ray Allen and Crawford, that can only shoot while in motion. I mean, man, just going 10 miles per hour drifting. It's like he was speeding. He just whoop, there it is. And it's cash. Not every time, 75%, maybe 80, 90, I don't know. But in the same sense, who's to blame for the success that when Doc Rivers was there in the Clippers, and I know Stephen A. and them always talk about not having African-American coaches, but damn it, if that takes into consideration that most of the African-American coaches that do turn into head coaches don't know how to coach, half of the Caucasian ones don't know how to coach either. The damn players are on the court doing whatever they want to do. But look at what Ty Lue did do. And look where they at. And we didn't give Ty Lue the credit because guess who? Guess what? He was on the Cavs team with LeBron and Kyrie, and everybody said he didn't coach the team. Which I understand that. You got LeBron James. He's the commander-in-chief on the court. If you're a coach, you sit there and go, all right, LeBron, you got it. All right, Kyrie, you got it. Who are you to tell LeBron no? Just like who was Bruce Arians to tell Tom Brady in the NFL? No, don't do that, Tom. But there's certain respect, abilities that players give the coach. But in the same sense, Doc Rivers had the authority. They listened to him and they failed. Several years back to back to back. I count 3 seasons.
And then you also gotta mention what Doc Rivers was able to do when he was with the Boston Celtics. You had Ray Allen, you had Kevin Garnett, you had Rondo, you had Paul Pierce. How Doc Rivers was able to coach them up. He was able to coach them up collectively, and by doing that, he and the Boston Celtics was able to win championships after championships.
But he lost it after that.
But after that, it was downhill.
Wherever the hell it went to, there it is. They went out the door too. Gone fishing. I'll be back. 2 months later, I'll be back. The draft comes out, I'll be back. Next year, I'll be back. Mm-hmm. But when you be back and you be lost again. And then we talk about non-coaching vacancy. We should be talking about the Brooklyn Nets and his coaching agency and see why the hell Steve Nash is still sitting in the building. But I guess because he got KD, he got Kyrie, he got James Harden. Ooh. But guess what they're doing? They're sitting on their couch with 3 superstars, 3 other things, and players behind them that can do more damage. But no, they weren't ready for the Bucks that didn't have no Giannis. You couldn't even get past the man, the Bucks, and you want to go play. You want to go play the Hawks. You want to go play the Clippers. You want to play the Suns. You can't even defeat one big man. He just whoop, there it is. No, I'm tired. It's the bottom line.
It's just all about making smart decisions and adjustments.
Who's the reason for the Clippers not having success when Doc Rivers was in LA? Was it the Clippers players on the court not making the right call? I mean, not making the right adjustments on the court, or was it Doc Rivers coaching not getting them where they should be?
I think it's just all in Doc Rivers coaching. I mean, yes, the LA Clippers, they had some struggles, but for you being a coach, is your responsibility to make smart adjustments at all costs. Tell them what they doing wrong. Tell them what they should be better at. The more you do that, the more efficiency and more excellence certain players around you can be able to compromise, be able to collectively play better. But in the sense with Doc Rivers, when he was coaching with the Clippers, we haven't really seen or he hasn't really shown that. And so that's what I feel like is really part of the reason why the Clippers in his era has sort of fallen apart.
They fell apart. That's like it. No, I ain't gonna do that. It's too early. But while we talking about it, who is the team to beat in the playoffs right now? You got the Hawks, they're young and dumb, and you got the Clippers that are veteran and one arm time behind their back, like a bandit. You got the Bucks that got one buck, and the rest of them are Cubs and Giannis. And then you got the Phoenix Suns that don't have the commander-in-chief until the protocols are over, if they last that long. But they are showing that they can still get the job done from being young, competitive, and eager to go after a championship with Devin Booker. So who is your team to beat right now?
I think right now I would say the Phoenix Suns. I really think they the dark horse. And just how they winning games without Chris Paul, that just shows that with everyone stepping up, that shows that you stand ready so that you don't have to get ready, and everyone is doing their part, making plays, winning games, and just being able to building good chemistry, if that, and just moving on from the next round and just being able to work as a team and just work as a dangerous unit. So I'll say the team to beat right now is Phoenix.
Right now, looking at the teams and looking at what they're capable of, the Bucks, the Clips, the Suns, and you got the Hawks. All of them haven't had a playoff drought in 50 years. Some of them breaking history like the Clippers. Some of them almost inches away from losing their game and still survive. But I will have to say, without a doubt right now, the team to beat, as I would be surprised, shocked, and stunned, and a little disgruntled, if somehow the Phoenix Suns are the team to beat. Without Chris Paul. Chris Paul's not even in the room right now. But if he joins, imagine how much havoc could be created. And we think he'll come back pretty soon. But what if Kawhi Leonard shows back up? Think about that. I'll give you a minute. But in the meanwhile,
Game 7?
maybe both of them in Game 7. We'll see how that happens.
Yeah.
But that's what concludes the NBA conversation today. Hey, it's been a blast, guys. It's got a lot of things we got going on. But then another thing is, next week, I got a special guest. Whoa, y'all better be ready because I can't say his name. Just tune in. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hey, and I'm about to drop another app, speaker app. It's an audio. I'm about to go down and drop it to Spotify too. And don't even get down about it. I'll get the other apps ready too. We're going one by one. But again, guys, next week, got a special guest, NBA, NFL, and more. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday. Whoa, TG will be here. MPG will be here. We don't know where the hell Cam Taylor will be at. But I do want to say, be blessed, guys. Say the rest. I'm out. Peace.
Hey.